Today's video is about sim rigging essentials that are not related to sim racing at all. This is equipment that is not related to sim racing at all, but I keep around my sim rig or my desk because it's really that useful. You can get this pretty much everywhere in the hardware store. You can get this kind of stuff online or even in Amazon. I'm going to leave a couple of links to my Amazon stores below so you can get them if you want to. And the first one we see here, as you can see, nothing related to sim racing at all. It will be this cable tidy. So this cable tidy is basically used to put extra lengths of cords or power supplies or extension leads. And this is useful because we have a bunch of power supplies or extension leads or even USB hubs laying around, and we can put that into here, making the space not as dirty with cables. This also has a secondary function that can be super important, is that these are electrically safe, as they say. Even if they aren't, they are not as dangerous as putting a power supply unit or an extension lead on top of nylon or on top of wool type of carpet. So essentially I've been using this box for about 6 or 7 years now. I have a couple of them laying around the house exactly for that, put the power supplies in, and that helps tidy up a little bit the space much, and also makes it a little bit safer. So this kind of stuff is available basically everywhere. There are a bunch of lengths, a bunch of sizes. I go for normally the largest size because the power supply units in high-end or higher-end type of steering wheels or wheelbase tends to be quite big, and small ones don't really fit that and the extension leads that we oftentimes need for sim racing. Next up, something that is weird to recommend, but it should be obvious, it will be USB hubs. In our sim rigs, it's very easy to have enough components to fill up 5, 10, or 15 USB ports, and not all USB ports are created equal. Neither are all USB hubs. I'm recommending hubs of this type, powered hubs specifically of 20, 48, 60 watts, because it is very easy to overload basically just a connection to your PC for the USB hubs, and you need something powered. If you run a wheel like this GSI GXL V2 or any other wheel like Solpec, they will require a lot of current to make these LEDs work, especially at high light or high brightness. And then you need to add also the screen if you have a screen one. And then when you add starting to have other things overloading your USB hub, it really means that you need more power to your USB ports. So having something that is a powered USB hub makes a lot of sense. For your sim rig, I would recommend something that has at least 20 watts, that has multiple ports, and you can have one like with 7 ports and then 3 ports just powered. They don't have any data at all. And what that will help you with is run all your USB peripherals, the wheelbase, the pedals, shifters, if you need the shifters as well, wheels, button boxes, wind, whatever you can put on top. If you have a decent enough USB hub, you can power all of that and not have power cuts. In the beginning, before having this, I used to run like just a 4-port or a 7-port without any power supply. And what ends up happening, even if you don't have something that is powered, if you have just enough things like Elgato Stream Deck, it will be just enough to make the whole connection power down, and then you lose control of your sim rig. So get a USB hub that is high quality, and even though they can be somewhat expensive, at least you have something that is future proof and you can run a lot of your peripherals in just one box. Next up is cable management. There's a lot of types of cable management out there. You have these types of Velcro pads, really useful. You have sleeves. You also have zip ties. They can be incredibly useful for your sim rig. But if you have access to a 3D printer, or you can get them in Etsy or maybe even in Amazon as well, I would recommend that you use these ones that you can run the cables through and connect it directly to your extruded aluminum rig. So this one as well, you have these ones as well. They're available in Etsy, and if you have the 3D printer, basically you have access to infinite of these. I have to buy these online, especially at Etsy. They have been incredibly useful to route the cables, multiple cables, bunch them up without having the issue, especially if you put them on sleeves. Oh, I need to take a cable out. Now I have to undo the sleeve. With these stuffs, with this kind of stuff, you can just put them inside of, you can bunch them inside, and then it will be super easy to just remove one cable. Next up, it will be a wireless keyboard that has a trackpad. It's very useful, especially if you are on your Simrig and your Simrig is separated from your computer. In that case, I can recommend this one, the Logitech K400plus. This one specifically is about 7 years old. It's completely destroyed. It suffered a couple of house moves and keeps falling down. The escape key doesn't work correctly, but it's still going around, so it's not a bad piece of equipment. In reality, it's probably one of the most common piece of equipment between Simrigs is that somebody has one of these, because these ones are super useful. The trackpad is actually really, really good for a keyboard of this type. It's very low profile. Next up, it will be the Stream Deck. It's something that I recommended in the past as the ultimate button box for your Simrig. Doesn't need to be this one specifically. I think the regular Elgato Stream Deck or even the Elgato XL will be better than this. But this one, specifically the Stream Deck Plus, will have access to these knobs that can serve as rotaries. The regular one, the Elgato, will have a lot of buttons that you can assign. If you do streaming there, it's pretty useful. And then you can change the profile into something that is a button box for you, where you can do macros or multiple things to create, for example, a set of button presses to make your car and go to rain mode or night mode, or to have a bunch of setups to be ready. For example, if the condition changes, the tires become a little bit too loose, and you can change the bias and the traction control. You can do a lot of macros, or you can do something very, very simple as just a button box. The Elgato or any other types of button boxes around, there's a bunch of brands out there right now, allows you to have a lot of flexibility on your Simrig. And if you have also a 3D printer, you can bolt your Stream Deck or any type of deck of this type connected to your Simrig, and you'll have your button box just over there. They tend not to be too expensive as button boxes. Some button boxes can be quite expensive, and these ones have infinite functions, and it's something that I usually recommend. The last product on this video is something really weird to recommend on a sim racing type of video, but then again, this is not sim racing equipment, and that will be a fire blanket. I've recommended that cable tidy as a way to prevent yourself of having a short circuit that will then propagate. But if something goes wrong and you are around, you can have something like this. I have a couple of this, one in the kitchen, because this is super useful, especially when you're cooking and if something happens, because stuff can happen. There's been a couple of situations around in the last 5 years that I've seen people, even with hobby rooms or people with Simrigs, that had some sort of short, and then part of their Simrig burned down or part of their room burned down. And having something like this, which is incredibly affordable, and it's so low profile, you can just have it on the sides, on somewhere really easy to access, and it doesn't use a lot of space. Might as well just have something like this and be safe than sorry. These are some sim racing ideas that I use personally. Let me know in the comments below what you use that is not related to sim racing.